Hello, everyone, and thank you to the second episode of the Soulful Intuitive. Today was one of those days that I have been wanting to do this all day, and it was just not happening. I had many things to do, and then I got a headache, and I had to wait until that pain went away. But here we are, it's a little dark. I was hoping for the recording to happen during the day, but didn't happen. Anyway, what I'm going to do today is I'm going to talk about why I started hearing that inner whisper about doing this against my inclination because I don't like to be exposed like this. But so basically, I did a series of ayahuasca ceremonies a few years ago, three to be exact, and in my first journey, which I went in with the intentions of just being more alive because I was feeling kind of numb and just was like right in the middle of the spectrum. I wasn't feeling anything exciting or less than exciting. I was just blah, which for me, it wasn't, my natural state. So I went in there. I had never done any psychedelics before. I had been hearing about ayahuasca for many years, and they do say that Mother Ayahuasca or Grandmother Ayahuasca will call your name when the time is right. And so she finally did. In 1 week, I heard from three different clients about this shaman that was performing the ceremony, and that he's fully booked. And I messaged him, and he said, no, it's my last one. I don't have any room. And then I was like, okay, well, let me know if anyone canceled. And sure enough, somebody canceled. So my partner and I joined. Um, it was really interesting. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. Kind of like when you've never been drunk, you don't know what feeling drunk is like. So for me, um, being on a journey with one of the strongest psychedelics in the world, I had no idea what I was getting myself into. So I did for those ones who don't know what ayahuasca is it's a brew from Amazon that's been used by shamans for, I'm going to say like 5, 6, even longer, 100 years, 500, 600 years or longer. Um, and they use it for all kinds of stuff, for obviously getting in touch with the other realm, but also for healing, physical healing, emotional healing, finding where to go to hunt. um, so basically to get centered and knowing intuitively where to go and what to do. So that's what a very quick introduction of ayahuasca would be. So we did our first serving, which is like a very small cup, and then you wait, and then nothing happened. The shaman asked us, "Are you like, how are you doing?" And we're like, "Yeah, we're good. We're laying down, pitch black room, waiting for something to happen." And then we did our second serving, maybe an hour later. Still, after a while, we were not feeling anything. And so he took us out, and they used tobacco, and he did something to our crown chakra. Apparently, he opened it up. And as soon as he blew the tobacco at us, me, it like hit me. So I started seeing geometrics, and I just entered to another realm, and was very intense. I would say that was my most incredible yet profound ceremony that I've ever had. She, Mother Ayahuasca, showed me everything because I'm of a very curious mind, and I really want to know how the world works on many levels, politically, psychologically, esoterically. I'm curious. And so, as far as I remember, because you do get a lot of downloads and you see a lot of visions, and the next day you have to write them down because, human brain, we're forgetful. So I did write a lot of things down, and but it was wonderful. She showed me everything from, where I was as a child to seeing myself at work, but outside of my own body, and how I interact with people, and how, um, like this is like a couple of years ago, so everybody was wearing, like men were growing their beard, and she just like took me to all, it kind of seemed like medical labs where all the scientists in, lab coats, white lab jackets were working, and she was like laughing in the background because, um, and then she kind of just giggled and said they're never going to get it because they're trying to understand this whole world by breaking it down to small pieces. Very like a reductionistic approach. And she said, "You're never going to understand the whole by breaking it down." And because everybody was under a microscope and that vision, and then, but it was very also matrixy, where you're not from one scene to another. You're not necessarily going forward or backward. Sometimes you're just going up and down, and you see all these like green lights and the grids. And But the gist of it was that she showed me that the world has been on this super masculine, devoid of femininity for so long, and this is when Trump was elected, and I never watched his shows because I just didn't really vibe with it, and mainly because I just don't necessarily gravitate towards figures that are very full of themselves. For me, the man who bragged about, using a golden toilet and, putting people into categories, winners and losers, was not necessarily someone that I would want to even watch on TV, let alone witness as the leader of the free world. So I was very upset, and yeah, and I also didn't want the other nominee to win either. So it anyway, I was just not happy with the results, even though I'm not American, so it wouldn't have mattered. But we all secretly, kind of vote inside of our heart when it comes to U.S. election in Canada, I think. So, but she showed me that Trump, because was wearing blue tie, and his hand was up, and then in my vision, and the blue light was coming out of his hand, and and when you're on the journey doing ayahuasca, you're not necessarily, there's a knowing when you see a vision, there's a knowing that comes with it. Very little words are spoken, and when you're having a gender reveal party, usually, blue is boy, pink is girl, and so this blue light was coming out of his hand, and the understanding of that scene was that Trump, or people like Trump, will take the world all the way to the end of the toxic masculinity and the expressions of it, until collectively humanity will see what's wrong with it, and then they start embracing femininity on like all aspects in their lives, and bringing it back, because we've obviously come a long way from the witch hunt trials, and which was an attack on femininity, and now we still have work to do, and so that was basically, she was telling me that don't worry, there's a plan, something's happening, even though, you know, we're usually, as human beings, we're impatient and we want it to happen now. At least I'm like that, and that's one of the things that I have to constantly remind myself, that I've never been. I'm a patient person, but I'm also very impatient when it comes to things that I want, and that's one of the lessons for me, that I can't be a bull in a china shop. I have to respect time and just the process of growth, and and bunch of other stuff. So, but basically, and also, like, I saw myself as like a feminine figure, and I thought that, and I saw even how much I have work to do in order to embrace femininity in me. And you know, you think that being a gay man, you have already, you know, been there, done that, and gotten the t-shirt, but I saw that how much more work I have to do in order to just be a whole human being, not just, you know, what I am, but I have work to do. And so, for example, like in the gay world, for gay men, one of the terms that used all the time is straight acting, which I don't even know what that means. I mean, you know, like, we're gay, so why do we want to act straight? But basically, what it is we've been abused by a certain kind of um, of men growing up, either in school or in our families, and we just want to please them. We wanted to please them then, and we grow up and we want to please them now, and that's what the term means. I think when gay boys say I'm very straight acting, which means that, you know, I display certain um, behavior of masculinity. So anyway, I the journey was over, and I came out of that journey, and what happens with ayahuasca is it just keeps unfolding as the time goes by, and then you just understand it more and more, because you get this immense psychic download, and some of it you forget, and some of it you don't understand, and it but as time goes by, you understand it, and then things happen in my own personal life, and also people around me and in the world, and we you know, the approach of the lockdowns and COVID, and we all know what happened there, and this very rigid approach, my way or highway, and no room for flexibility and no room for questioning, and which is, these are all um, signs of toxic masculinity, which is the theme, my motive to start this. And then fast forward to this summer, or the end of the summer, the movement in Iran started to unfold, and maybe a few months before that, a movement happened in my own family, and which was a prelude to a bigger movement in Iran, which is uprising. An uprising, not necessarily, you know, in a violent way, but just standing up for what's been taken away from us for so long. I have a lot of friends. I have obviously a lot of gay friends and straight friends, and all genders. And the common theme is what we were told growing up, which you can't be like this and you can't act like that, and this is like, girls don't do that and boys don't do that, and all the BS and all the nonsense that have brought us to this point in life, where we're distracted, where we are afraid to express, we constantly question ourselves, if, you know, if, like, what we're saying, is it like proper, or, you know, are we gonna like fit in that mold that they told us we should fit in, because it's all about molds and different boxes that you have to, if you're a boy, you don't cry, and if you're a girl, you don't do this, and if that's just all of it, and uh, which is nothing but being imbalanced. And then when you're imbalanced, you display all these, symptoms of anxiety and depression and insecurity. And I mean, insecurity, that's what it is. Insecurity, what happens when you repress a big part of you. And not only you repress it, you're ashamed of it. And whenever you have expressed it, you were not treated nicely, and you were told that you should never do that, because boys don't do that, and men don't do that, and girls don't do that, and women don't do that. And so after unfolding like what happened in my own family, um, and basically a sample of rising up against tyranny and against toxic behavior being demonstrated by an unaware masculine figure who has been also traumatized as a child, and that's how unfortunately this happens. It's just narcissistic people have been abused as kids, traumatized. They were never shown a way to heal, and they create this persona that doesn't exist, and they have so much pain, they have so much trauma that they hurt people, because hurt people hurt people. And because there is no self-reflection, there is no moment of solitude to look the person in the mirror and try to see what you can make better and what you can work on, that they just keep going on and just hurting everyone around them, and then people around them get traumatized, and then those people grow up and then they traumatize other people. So this cycle, that it just became very apparent to me that this cycle has to break, or else as humanity we'll never heal. And the cycle breaks when people speak up, and it's so difficult. We've seen it with Me Too movement and Black Lives Matter and like all of these events that have happened. People are just saying enough is enough, like let's talk about this, but then they get shamed and shunned by their loved ones and friends, because how dare you speak up, and how dare you spill the private information. And but that if you don't spill it, if people don't come forward with their pain, how is it going to go away? And how are we going to heal each other? And so what I do at work, completely by accident, is because I'm a firstborn, and I didn't really have older siblings to go and confide in. So I just got really good at confiding in strangers. And when you confide in strangers, they confide in you. And so instead of talking about fluff, you just talk about real stuff. And so interesting is when you talk about your life, good and bad, people do the same. And then it's so amazing, because then you realize that everyone is dealing with more or less the same thing. It's pain, it's trauma, it's shame, it's guilt, it's sadness, it's frustration, it's anger, secrets. And so it's really empowering. It's empowering to look someone in the eye and say, this is what happened to me. And without censorship, just own it, speaking about it, and then you'd be surprised how many people will come up with the same experience. And this is why I love my job, because I have these one-on-ones, and I'm so energized. My body gets tired, but my soul is just satisfied, because you're talking about these things, and especially during COVID, where everybody just censored themselves about everything, because you couldn't talk about anything. because people were so afraid of getting canceled or getting judged. And but they're like, why are we judging each other? If I don't know something, if I have a wrong opinion, based on the information that's available to me, and I can't talk about it, then how am I going to be corrected? How am I going to hear the other side? Um, so so that's what I do at work, and I realize that there is a need for this. There is a need for candid um, honesty, for um, just coming up and listening to each other, and be supportive, and that is a way to heal each other and to heal ourselves. And so that's how I've been dealing with it, pretty much all my life. But it just got um, better and better. I just, in the beginning, I didn't know what I was doing. Like what I was doing, I was just doing it because I didn't have anyone else to talk to. And then the response that I got from others was always so positive, because then they opened their heart to me. And guess what? When you connect, um, that brings affection, that brings tenderness, and then people bond. People don't usually bond over superficial stuff like, oh, look at the jacket that I got, or look at how beautiful my house is. Those are not bonding. Those are not bonding factors. People bond when they really touch each other's heart. And there is, and sure, you talk about amazing stuff too, love, and um, things that are high vibrating, things that are happy. But also, we should talk about things that aren't happy. And it's not, some people believe that, oh, but it's negative. It's not negative. There is such a thing as toxic positivity, where you're like always trying to put a nice spin on everything. But, we live in this world, and there's hot and cold, there's left and right, and then there's, um, happy and sad, and we need to talk about that, because we were told that, oh, only show your happiness, but like, push your sadness down, and then we wonder why everyone's on antidepressants. No, like, sadness has a place. And I'm reading Dr. Gabor Mate's book, The Myth of Normal, and basically this whole book is about this. And he's a professional, he's a physician, he's dedicated his life to really dig deep in the area of mental illness and what society has done to us. And I think that, instead of maybe talking about things that don't really matter, maybe we should get together and talk about things that do matter. Because sometimes when you talk about someone who's hurt you um, with someone else, that person sees themselves in your story, either as the one who was hurt or as the person who's hurting others. Um, and so you have an opportunity to change people's lives for better. And also, when people are hurting, they isolate, and they think that, it's only happening to them, that, everyone else on their social media and snapping pictures of their steak and bouquet of flowers and their beautiful homes, and snapshots of happiness. And then they isolate more because they don't see themselves in these snapshots. Like, it's very rare that people put a snapshot of uh, a moment of trauma. And I don't know why, because we're human. We deal with good and bad. We deal with um, elating and traumatizing moments. So why are we only putting those pictures up? What are we selling? Are we selling this idea of, like, life is always honey, bees and candies and good times? Because that's no one's life. As a hairstylist, I think, and I'm sure therapists and people who actually talk to a lot of people from all spectrum, all walks of life, they know that no one lives a perfect life. Perfect life doesn't exist, but and the definition of perfection should change. Perfect is a combination of everything, kind of like when you look in the mirror and you see yourself. Um, and most people their idea of perfect is what the magazines tell them, but that's also BS because everyone is perfect in their own way, and it's sad that we have to see um, ourselves as a reflection of magazine cover figures who've been filtered and digitally enhanced and whatnot, and then go and feel bad about ourselves because we don't fit in that box. And anyway, so again, that's why I'm doing this, and that's why I feel very strongly towards just stepping forward and talking about what this lack of um, femininity in us, in our world, feminine energy, um, has done to us, all of us, kids, grown-ups, all genders, and people wonder, oh, why so many pronouns? Why people are changing their genders? Why not? Because we got it wrong. We got it so wrong. We think of gender as genitals, basically, and that's not what genders are. And in order to come up with something new that works, you have to get rid of the old. And it doesn't matter how old it is, but we don't live in a world of black and white. We actually live in a world of predominantly gray. So I don't understand why when it comes to his and her we became so obsessed with black and white. um, should we have conversations? Absolutely. um, uh, Conversations are always important. That's how we understand each other. That's when you go to therapy, what are you doing? You're conversing, because through talking you hear yourself, and you have those moments where clarity shines right back at you. So um, I just wanted to talk about this today because I don't want my segments to be very long, even though I listen to a lot of long segments because I spend a lot of time in my car, so I can just listen to them in different segments. But I want it to not be, I want the episodes to not be that long, so people don't get tired. I want it to be motivational, but I also want it to be educational. And that's why I talk about my own experience, because that's the most authentic story that I can offer. But also I have other people's experiences in my pockets too, and I think about them, I analyze them. It's really good to have so many case studies to see how this world works, and this world is wonderful if you look at it the right way, and it's horrible if you look at it the wrong way. But I know in my heart, I know it's like a very strong certainty that we are moving towards a world where we are actively embracing the divine feminine in us and balancing our masculinity with femininity, and our femininity with masculinity. Um, just like, yin and yang, it's, one's not bigger than the other. They're always doing the dance, and that's what balance, that's why that balance is beautiful. And we've been out of balance for so long, and we all have to do our work in order to nudge our world and our and humanity as a collective towards this balanced place. And it happens with being honest, being raw, being authentic, being vulnerable, and just and being accepting of each other's stories and listening to each other with open heart. And we don't have to offer solutions. It's one of the problems that I have, especially with my loved ones, where when they're hurting, I jump um, on the whole solution wagon. I want to like fix it. Um, and I'm realizing I'm working on myself. Um, with my therapist, that fixing it Fixing is a process. It's not my job. Everyone's made for something, and this whole wanting to fix everything very quickly is also a very masculine thing, you know. And that's another aspect of me that I'm trying to work on. And and I told myself that after my first taping, because I felt so drained afterwards, it was a little too serious because I had never done it before, and I told myself today that I'm going to have fun and be more relaxed, and I feel relaxed, at least more relaxed than last time. And thank you for tuning in and listening to this episode. And I'm going to come up with exciting yet personal topics that is related to this and sometimes not related to this. And I also want to bring people that I talk to, because I really think that there's power in dialogue, and when you know, ping pong back and forth, things just more organic, things are more entertaining, and I will do that too. But for now, um, I haven't made any solid plans with the people that I want to talk to, but I just wanted to say thank you again for listening to this episode, and I'm very honored and very excited to have a long path with this podcast. So together we can create a ripple that will eventually nudge our world into the the very calm, harmonic direction. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful day. Bye.